guys, Captain Fox here, and I want to talk about Overwatch, but more specifically, I want to talk about nerfing and buffing in the game, and how I don't think Blizzard knows what the hell they're doing. And this video is not meant to be, don't buff this, don't nerf this, it's overpowered. No, this is more a rant on how a lot of buffs and nerfs can affect the gameplay in I guess a negative fashion, or at least how I've seen it. Now I'm not a pro player, I'm not, some high tier player. I just play often. I'm a level 230 for those that are wondering. I'll show it on screen now, as you can see in the top right. And I just want to discuss a few things about where I think the game went wrong. So let's backtrack. Before any of these patches went live, the game was vanilla, and one of the major problems was McCree. Now, McCree used to be able to flashbang, fan the hammer, anyone, and it's guaranteed one shot. It's guaranteed you're dead, tanks included. Now, majority of the time with tanks, it took flashbang, fan the hammer, roll, fan the hammer because it took more damage, but he could dispatch tanks pretty easily. With little to no effort, and his gun had decent range on it with little fall-off damage, so it was very good. But as they complained about this heavily, and they were upset, and rightfully so. But when Blizzard nerfed him, it brought him down a lot in damage, which made tanks more relevant, but I think a little too relevant. This made tanks run rampant in the game, as they currently are in the meta. Tanks are currently, me personally, I think a bit too strong. They're not filling the tank role, they're more a glorified, heavily armored DPS. And because he can no longer dispatch them quickly, they're just out doing whatever the fuck they want to do. So in comes Widowmaker nerf. She's meant there to dispatch flankers, roll over heroes, and keep control over points with her sniping abilities. She was one-shotting Zenyatta's and Widowmakers, which is what a sniper's supposed to do. To be in my experience with games and Call of Duty and Halo, Black Ops, I've played plenty of shooters and snipers. That's their role. It's a sniper. They're supposed to kill you in 1-2 shots. That's kind of their role, and it takes a level of skill to aim and have that precision to get those kills in 1-2 shots. So when I heard she got nerfed, I was kind of like, but why though? She's fulfilling her duty as a job. Now I did find out that the quickscope thing was an issue and some were abusing that, and I understand that. But when they nerfed her, I think they nerfed her a little bit too much, because in the recent game, Zenyatta got a buff to his health, which was a problem before because he had 150 health prior. Now he has 200, so I think they should raise her damage back to where it was to coincide with other more better picks like Hanzo, for example, for a sniper. But I digress. And what I'm saying is, these patches and nerfs indirectly affect other characters, which caused them to have to be nerfed and patched. When they nerfed McCree, tanks got stronger, so they had to. Oh, I'm not sure what it is. Oh yeah, they brought up Zenyatta to apply Discord or take out tanks. As of today, there was an announcement on the Overwatch forum that they're gonna nerf Zenyatta's damage because it's too much, and he's being selected way too much in matches, unlike other characters. When you have Widowmaker being nerfed, that indirectly buffed Tracer and Zenyatta, because now no one is dealing with them outside of McCree. But since his damage isn't, I guess, as overwhelming as it was, they're still doing their thing, And I'm not saying that as a DPS shouldn't do DPS things, but McCree is DPS also, and I believe that as a DPS he should be able to do DPS. Now I used to use McCree a lot, but I've recently switched to Genji and Tracer because I like to be able to flank and get around my opponent, even though McCree is a good choice, not for me. But anyway, getting back into the discussion, I think once the tanks got crazy, Zenyatta got buffed, and it's been like a uphill battle for DPSs. And I saw a video on Overwatch Central, which is one I want to discuss as well. They said that defense heroes are not used much, and that Genji's overpowered. And I have as a player that plays, I get within level 50 to 60 range, I don't see this. I see a lot of defense heroes being picked more so than DPSs and competitive. There's often times when I'm going to switch characters, the DPS slots are always open from McCree, Pharah, Tracer to Reaper. They're always open, but the closed slots are Junkrat, Hanzo, Mei. They're always filled up. So I was like, I think the DPS is the one struggling to get damage out because they're being choked out by so many of these better heroes, tanks included. Tanks right now are just overwhelming because of the prior nerf to McCree, who has dispatched them pretty fast. Now, one, you can say Reaper can get rid of tanks, which yes, he can. That's true. But Reaper, I think the way people play Reaper is fundamentally wrong. They play him focusing on low-level heroes, and I think Reaper is meant to be like not a McCree in a sense, where he's like doing flankers, but more of an in-between of focusing on tanks, but being able to take out flank heroes. Where McCree's main job should be to take out flankers specifically and low-level heroes and have nothing to do with tanks. Well, that's how he is now. I think I prefer McCree the way he was, because I personally don't like the way tanks are in this game right now. I think they're just overwhelmingly overpowered to a point where I think that it's just silly. Because the games that I come from, you know, MMOs specifically, and I know this isn't an MMO, but I just want to stress this fact. DPSs do DPS. That's their goal. I'm sorry, to do damage, to out damage you and anyone else, because that is their job. A defense hero should be able to clutch defense, hold points. I don't think they should be able to out DPSs. I'm looking at you, Junkrat. And then you have the tanks, which I believe should be able to hold points, push back people, and have an abundance of health, but not be able to dispatch heroes quickly, because that is the DPS's job. The tanks, as they are now, are doing a much better job of that than DPS's. Roadhog, Zarya, Reinhardt. Goodness me, you could just be Reinhardt, and I don't even use him, but I've been on stream just to prove a point where I'll just run forward, holding R2, swinging away, and getting results. A lot, and not just any results. I mean, good, like 3 or 4 player kills per death, or not even per death. I can just dispatch 4 people and walk off, get behind my shield with like little to no effort. And then when I pick, say, McCree or Tracer, I'm struggling to get these kills, whereas Reinhardt and Zarya and Roadhog don't. Roadhog snatch him up, one shot. Zarya, damn near unkillable in the right hands. Reinhardt, speak for itself. You know, tanks, and they're like glorified DPSs because they have a huge health pool and really, really, really good DPS. And I don't think that should be a case. I think I'm starting to believe that Blizzard just has no idea what the fuck they're doing anymore. I think one of the biggest problems with games and game developers, and I'm not talking on this, I do have experience in game design. I've been building a game with my friends for a few years now, so I have relative idea of what I'm talking about in this topic. But I kind of feel bad when game devs, game designers make a game or a character and it gets abused or used in the wrong way as originally intended by design. Does that make sense? Like, if you design a character to be a sniper and they use him as like, and they abuse some kind of like exploit where he like gets a lot of kills up close, and you're like, that's not what I want him. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, back to the topic. I just don't think the Blizzard knows what they're doing at this point. I think that they're listening to the community too much, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying, you know, don't listen to your community, don't, you know, take feedback. You should always do that as any job, any form. You should always take community feedback and learn what your customers want, how to please them. But you know the old phrase, the customer's always right, isn't always right. They don't know what they want, so you give it to them. So everyone's bitching and complaining about what to nerf and what to buff. But I think that when Blizzard does these things, they either over nerf or over buff players, taking them out of the gameplay specifically. Like, I don't know if you guys heard, but apparently Mercy is not used anymore because Lucio and Zenyatta is the new meta. And I've seen it myself. I don't see it in quick play, but I see it prevalent in competitive. Always Lucio and Zenyatta, and because they can both deny ults. Lucio was so irritating to kill because he just hops around, and he already has a small frame, so getting a clean, precise shot on him is already difficult as it is. But irregardless, I just think that Blizzard needs to stop listening to feedback just a tad, because man, it's crazy how these buffs and patches are just going out of out of control. They're out of control, man. There's so many things that if it was me, would be different. I would nerf. You know what? You know what? That's for a different video. But anyway, if you enjoy this rant, let me know. Leave a comment down below what your problem is with Overwatch's buffing and nerfing system. You know, what do you think about it? So, as usual, guys, I will see you in the next video. Captain Fox is out. Take care.